Hi, welcome to Picking in Fishbowl Inventory version 16 with Lance at Brandow Consulting. Most QuickBooks users aren't familiar with picking because QuickBooks doesn't have picking, so picking is a new thing. Typically you used a sales order or a packing list to manage your picks. Well, Fishbowl Inventory has one step in between the sales order and the packing list, and that is picking. In Fishbowl, you can pick several orders at the same time. You can schedule your picks and you can prioritize your picks. So let's go to the picking screen. I just went to the picking screen from the home screen. You can also access the picking screen from the sales category on the left or the sales category drop down from the top. Now the first thing you should look at on the picking screen is the search pane on the left hand side. This is a powerful tool to help you manage your picks and decide which pick you would like to pick. So here you'll have some colorful buttons that give you an idea of what's available to pick right off the bat. Also, you'll notice that a pick can begin with an S or a W. It can also begin with a P or a T. In Fishbowl Inventory, you can pick a sales order, you can pick a work order, you can pick a purchase order, and you can pick a transfer order. So we're going to start with a sales order since that's the most common. The pick is the sales order number with simply an S in front of it. Now, in order to focus on the sales order numbers, I went to this drop down here and changed the filter to sales order, and that will show me only sales orders. That way, if you're the warehouse personnel that's picking the sales orders, you'll be able to manage that and narrow that down. Notice there's a status here. That's another way to manage which picks to print a pick ticket for or to send to your picking device. Also, there's a date. This is very useful when finding and searching the sales orders that have not been shipped out yet. This will help you see at a glance which sales orders are late, which ones you need to focus on. This is your first priority when it comes to picking, is the scheduled date. First look at the date, try to pick the oldest date, and then pick today's date. If there's a date in the future, obviously you don't need to pick that yet. It's scheduled in the date. You may wonder where this date comes from, so let's go there. We'll do a little bit of a jump to another screen. I'm going to go to the sales order screen. Now on the sales order screen, there is a fulfillment date. This is your scheduled pick date. The idea behind this is you will pick and you will ship on the same day. Typically, that's the case. So fulfillment in this case is not the date it arrives at your customer's site. It's the date that it is shipped out of your warehouse. That is the date that shows up on picking. Alright? Now you'll also notice we have a scroll bar here. Ooh, we've got more fields. Okay, so we scroll to the right and the customer name shows up there. Also, the user that created the pick, modified the pick. Now these drop downs, these columns, can be managed. If you don't want to see the colors, if that's not helpful to you, right click on the column header, and all the columns available will appear. Simply uncheck the column that you don't like, or check the column you wish to see. Now if you need more room, also you can minimize this module on the left hand side by clicking this little pin here. Bloop, there it goes, gone. So now you've got a larger area to work with to manage your list of picks. I don't want these two columns, so I'm going to get rid of those. Right click, uncheck, right click, uncheck, boom. So now we've got our customers, the date that's scheduled, the status of the pick, and we're missing one thing, priority. I like to use priority. This priority comes in handy if you have multiple picks on the same day and you want to know which picks need to go out first. Now here we go again. This priority is started back at the sales order screen. The salesperson who enters the sales order creates this priority. Salespeople are happy about this. All right. So back here on the sales order screen, under the Details tab, you'll see the priority. Bam. That priority will show up on the pick screen. If we change this to highest, click Save. If sales order number 50,056 is on the pick screen, then that priority will be refreshed. 50,056, there it is. And let's refresh it. Not refreshing. I think you actually have to do that before it's issued. So there we go. So I unissued the sales order, reissued the sales order. Boom, there's the priority. Same thing with the scheduled date as well. Now, from the picking screen, you can change the priority. Warehouse people, you'll like this feature. Yes, we can override the priority if you'd like. Okay, and also change the scheduled date that you would like to pick it. Now this is a silly scheduled date because this is from the Bicycles Unlimited database and it's a couple years old, so we'll put in a more reasonable pick date here. We're not going to pick it months ago, we're going to pick it in 2 weeks or tomorrow. There we go. So now we've got this pick as a high priority for December 30th, which means it's not a priority, or excuse me, December 3rd, which means it's not a priority today because today is December 2nd. Alright, so from here we manage picking, and this is where inventory control comes into place. We have control over our inventory when we have a picking screen and not just a sales order screen or a packing screen. When a sales order is issued in Fishbowl, inventory is allocated. If you'll recall, in QuickBooks there's a little spot on the item screen that says on sales order. That's a similar feature in Fishbowl. But Fishbowl takes that feature one more step with picking. Once you finish a pick, we'll finish this pick here. Boom. Yeah, I'll go through this slower later, but I want to finish this pick. So once we finish this pick, this inventory is committed. One more step. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to this IMount field right here, the IMount part number. We're going to go to that part, IMount part. Come on, IMount. We have 17 on hand, 3 allocated, 3 committed. Now if I void this pick, voiding the pick, that means we're putting it back on the shelf, taking it back off of the packaging table and putting it back on the shelf. That's what voiding a pick equates to. If we come back here and refresh this, we'll notice that we have 3 allocated and 1 committed. And this sales order has 2 of those. So that's one more step Fishbowl has. It has an allocated step and a committed. When something is allocated, then other sales orders can compete for that inventory part. When something is committed, then other sales orders, work orders, any other orders cannot compete for that part. So once this pick is finished, then it belongs to this order. And this step in the Fishbowl design represents inventory leaving the shelf in the warehouse, moving over onto a packaging area, and being staged for packaging, either on a packaging table or on a crate to be wrapped and palletized, whatever that packaging process is. Picking represents the movement from the shelf to the packaging area. Okay, so let's pick. We have 2 items here to pick. There's 2 different ways to fulfill this pick. We can use the finish button up top, which means all the quantities from the pick were completed. Or we can use the finish button on the right to specifically finish one line. Okay? So before we finish, imagine we gave your warehouse person a pick ticket, and they took this pick ticket right here, computer's going slow today. Oops, forgot to start it. So we'll start the pick, print this pick ticket out, give it to our warehouse person. Alright? They'll take this pick ticket out to the floor and use it as a guide. And then while they're out on the warehouse floor, they'll check off the items that they picked. Bring that pick ticket back to you and say, here you go, boss. Or if they're entering it themselves, they'll use it as their own personal reference. Okay? So now we have this reference showing us what was picked. And since this one was picked completely, we don't necessarily need to finish line by line, although we could. But in this case, this item is serialized. So this gives the warehouse person an opportunity to write a serial number or tracking number and record which serial number or tracking number they picked. Now this makes the mobile device look more enticing, because with the mobile device you can easily scan the serial number. Without a mobile device, you're left with recording the serial number or the lot number a different way, possibly manually on a sheet of paper. So you record the serial number, and here's a list of all the serial numbers that are in the warehouse. And let's say that the two serial numbers that were recorded on the pick ticket were these two: V12219, V12223, and we're done. It's telling us that iMount has an expiration date. We're using an old database, so the dates on this part are all extremely old. And so it's a good warning, especially in the food industry. We need expiration dates. Okay, here's our next one, and this is tracked by a revision level. So it's asking us to select the revision level from down here, and it looks like it only has one revision level to choose from, so that makes it easy. Now, the pick status is finished, which means the inventory is committed. It has been moved off the shelf into the packaging area, and it now shows up in the shipping area. So if we click to ship, this is just a link to the shipping screen. Don't let this scare you. This is not going to ship it. It's just a link to the shipping screen. So we click that, and now here's our order on the shipping screen. Thanks for joining Brandow Consulting today to do a high-level, quick overview of the picking screen. I hope you'll find this helpful. Have any other questions, you can send us an email at lance@brandowconsulting.com, or give me a call at 801-687-3254. Have a good day.